Hello and welcome to Camp, the Catholic audiobook in a month podcast. My name is William Wilson, and today is day 9 of The Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. I will be reading the 5th and final part of the Ways of Brother Lawrence, on denying all that earth can give, as well as how this practice is for everyone and not only practiced in a cloister. Let's get started. The joy of contemplation, on which he feeds unceasingly, without being satiated, renders him insensible to all empty pleasures. He dwells by love with God, and having seen through faith a vision of the light of lights, he has no taste for what the world can offer. Through love he has attained already what he lacks, and he longs for naught, because, so far as in this life he can, he has the object of his heart's desire. He has no ground for fear, inasmuch as nothing in this life can hurt him, nor turn his heart from the love of God. He has no need to school his spirit into calmness, seeing that his mind is at rest, persuaded that all things work together for good. Nothing perturbs him, and anger he knows not, because of the love he has to God. Jealousy can gain no entrance, inasmuch as he lacks nothing. He loves his fellow men with no mere human fondness, but as the objects of the love of a loved and loving Father. His spirit is steadfast and unchangeable, for he has committed all his ways unto God, and rests on him alone. I should like to add to this portrait a finishing touch from the hand of a great master, one who was more illumined by the light of that faith which he had in common with Brother Lawrence than by all the science and philosophy of Greece. Will anyone find fault with me for ranking together the great masters and doctors with an obscure lay brother, when one finds in his simple words and life the same full purity and perfection of Christian precept and practice, which the greatest lights of the Church have handed down to us, and which all alike have drawn from Jesus Christ, who hides himself from those who in their own imaginations are wise and prudent, revealing himself to the humble and lowly of heart? No one can be more brave or dauntless, says St. Gregory of Nazianzus, than the true Christian philosopher. Everything gives way to his largeness of heart. If one denies him all that earth can give, he has wings wherewith to fly and find his refuge in God. He knows no limits. He lives on earth as a man wholly in heaven, unmoved amid the storm of passions. He yields in everything, save in the greatness of his courage, and by yielding he surpasses those who fancy to eclipse him. He uses the supports of life no further than necessity obliges him. His only intercourse is with God. Raised above all things of outward sense, his soul is a stainless, spotless mirror, reflecting the divine without any intermingling of what is gross and earthly. Daily he adds new lights of virtue to those he has already, until at length he comes unto him, who is the fountain of light, in whose light he shall indeed see light, when the glory of truth shall have scattered the darkness of all enigmas in the day of perfect bliss. In this one recognizes our lay brother, and all of like mind and heart. Though it was in a very lowly corner that Brother Lawrence lived his days, yet there is no person, of whatsoever station or condition he be, who may not draw great profit from his life. Those who are filled with the cares of this world he will teach to draw near to God, to ask from him the grace to do their duty faithfully, never forgetting that they can approach God when they are most busied, in the market and where men do congregate, or in the hour of leisure. By the example of our good brother, they will be moved to render thanks to God for all his mercies, and for the good that he inspires them to do, humbling themselves before him for their many failures. In these pages, they will not find set out a devotion which is merely speculative, or which can only be practiced in a cloister. No, there is an obligation laid on every man to worship God and love Him, and we cannot carry out this solemn duty as we ought unless our heart is knit in love to God, and our communion is so close as to constrain us to run to Him at every moment, just like little children, who cannot stand upright without their mother's arms of love. Far from this communion with our Father being difficult, it is very easy and very necessary for everyone. It is to this that St. Paul says that all Christians are constrained. Whoever does not practice it, whoever does not feel his great necessity, whoever does not grasp his total inability alone to do aright, is ignorant of his own self, ignorant of God his Father, utterly ignorant of his continual need of Jesus Christ. No affairs or cares of the world can serve as an excuse for neglecting this our duty. God is everywhere, in all places, and there is no spot where we cannot draw near to Him and hear Him speaking in our heart. With a little love, just a very little, we shall not find it hard. Such as are withdrawn from the embarrassments and perplexities of life have still greater opportunities of following in the steps of Brother Lawrence. Freed for the most part from the ambitions and conventions of the world, which give to those struggling in its throng most of their cares and troubles, there is nothing to hinder them from taking the example of our good brother and renouncing all desire other than that of living every moment of their life and doing every action for the love of God, giving to Him, in Brother Lawrence's own words, the all for the all. The example of his complete detachment from the world, of his entire forgetfulness of self, which led him to think no longer even of his own salvation, to keep his mind free for God to fill, of his indifference to what life might bring, and of his freedom in the spiritual life, cannot fail to be fraught with blessing beyond measure. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Tomorrow I will read the first part of The Gathered Thoughts of Brother Lawrence, which is a collection of a few scattered sayings of Brother Lawrence included by the translator of the 1907 edition of his Spiritual Maxims. If you have enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, rate, share, and help us grow. Also, please check out oratebooks.com, now featuring The Ways of Mental Prayer by Vital Liaudet. Praised by Pope St. Pius X and spiritual leaders across generations, this masterwork guides readers through the transformative journey of prayer, from its foundational practices to its most profound mystical heights. That's oratebooks.com. If you'd like to learn more about us, please visit camp.fm. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.